Hi, welcome to the very first episode of our podcast, A Moment of Boba, where you get to come and join us as we share with one another about our life experiences.
I'm Tina.
I'm pa.
I'm Kalina.
And I'm Finola. Today, I'm going to be your host. This is our very first podcast, and so we're going to talk about a little bit about ourselves and who we are, just to get to know, for you guys to get to know us. And to start off, we're going to talk about our first impressions of each other. Who would like to start?
I guess I could go since it was pretty recent. I mean, recent as in like 7 years ago.
I was like, recent?
I think I met you guys November 9th or November 19th.
You know the date?
Yeah, because it was the first snow, like the first day of snow that year. I think it was 2000, I don't know, but it was, I was in 7th grade back then. That's all I know. But, and now I just graduated college, so it has been a while. But, Tina, I think actually, that was the first day we hung out together that I actually remember you guys. But, Tina, I met her earlier than that. But so the first impression I have of Tina was back when we were in church. She was younger than us, so when we went up a grade, she came in, and I was like, who's this girl with an iPod tied around her neck? Because you had it, like, on a necklace, and I was like, I've never seen that, oh my goodness. And they
I had a what?
name. You had your iPod, and you wrapped, like, a string around it so that you could wear it as a necklace.
Oh. Oh my gosh, a flashback.
We were doing like Bible study and she came in. That was the first time I remember like clearly meeting Tina. But yeah, that was a bit. Tina, like, she was like louder than all of us. Like, she had a bigger personality. Yeah, because I was quiet back then. You guys were really quiet. Everybody was quiet. And then Tina was very bubbly out of all of us. And then you guys, I remember Finn felt like a mom to me, even though she was only 8th grade. But yeah, we got to be friends because your mom invited me over because you guys were going to the mall. So it was really nice. And you guys were like, oh, if you need us to buy anything, if you don't really have like money or cash like that, then we got you. I was like, everybody's so nice. But yeah, that's my first impression of you guys. You guys are really nice, and it wasn't like intimidating or anything, and it was fun. I still look back at those photos every now and then.
Yeah, dude, we acted like tourists at the mall. I don't know why. Should I go next? Well, for starters, Finola's my sister.
Yeah, what is your first impression of me?
I don't remember. Too young for that. But I guess, I don't know. She's my sister.
Yeah, we'll just end it there.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Put it there. I guess I'll go Tina first because we met her first. I think when I first met her, that was like all the way in second grade, I think.
I think so.
Because that's when we first moved to our new church, which is our current church now. And I think honestly, I didn't like her that much. We didn't.
I get that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but like I don't know why, because I think that's just like the child in me who's just like, ugh, like I don't like our friends now. Like I didn't like them a whole lot. We first
friends
with
with
then.
What?
Yeah, no, because we only became friends through the puppet ministry, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's how we like got to know each other with like first impressions. Because we had like a little, I guess, open house at our place, so like the church members can come and get to know our family better. And when we were there, Finola and I were like very bossy. We set up rules. We were like, no, you can't do this, you can't do that to like all the kids there. And I remember, I don't know why, I don't know. I don't remember why I didn't like you guys that much, but like no, I like you guys a lot more now, so
That's what matters.
That's so funny.
What a relief.
And then for Paying, I feel like I didn't know that you were friends with Finola at first.
Oh my
I
God.
thought like you came because you were friends with another friend of ours.
Oh, like makes sense. Now,
Yeah.
actually, I was friends with your mom first.
True. Okay, yes. Yeah, and so I was like, oh, like, I guess she decided to bring someone. And, like, my mom was always, like, the person who was like, you gotta, like, be nice to, like, new people and, like, people you don't know. And I'm like, okay. But, yeah, that's what I remember. Because I was like, so, like, she brought a friend. Okay, like, let's be welcoming and be nice. Yeah, but that mall trip
was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny.
It was a
Oh my
funny day.
Yeah, when we forgot Tina at the mall, I was, oh my gosh, I don't even know how that happened.
You guys literally left me for like 3 to 5 minutes, and I was like, where is everyone? I called everyone. No one answered.
I answered though when she called me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just like background information, we were all packed in a van, and so like I remember sitting in the front seat, and my mom was driving, and then I was like, "Why is Tina calling me?" And like I answered, and I looked back, and I was like, "Dude, we forgot Tina. Like, where is she?"
I thought it was someone else who answered. I thought it was. Can I say names?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay, I thought it was Charisma, because I remember Charisma was like, "Guys, we forgot Tina."
Oh my
So I feel
god.
like,
But
feel like
I don't know
or maybe I might
whoever it
have
was.
also. I either like got a missed call from you or answered because I don't remember. But
Oh yeah, because I think it was like when I was like, oh, like Tina called me, and I think you were talking to Charisma when
oh, probably
that happened.
yeah.
and both of you guys were like, oh, we forgot Tina.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Gosh.
But yeah, I think my first impression of Ping was she was quiet, and I was like, oh, I hope she doesn't think we're crazy, or like, and I hope that she's comfortable with being with us and everything. Because she's like was so quiet. It was like it seemed like she was so reserved to herself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, she's like enjoying her time and not thinking, we're too much for her. That was But I just like worried a lot, and I was like, okay, I think she's enjoying herself. But yeah, she seemed like, my first impression of Peyton, she was like really nice and calm and like very quiet and to herself.
Yeah.
So, but like with Tina, I don't really remember what I first thought of her. But like going off what Kalina said earlier, that time when they came to our house, I remember they were like going under our like desk and everything, and I would be like, hey, you can't go under there. And, like, they would be like, okay. But that was, like, I don't know. Because I wasn't, like, Kalina, though. Because I was just, like, people are over our house, just got to make sure they are being safe and whatnot. But, like, my first impression of just Tina, I was like, oh, these are just kids. Like, I just need to make sure they don't do things.
Wow, way to put me down like that.
You're the one that said that you didn't like them. I never felt that way. But I think like because after that moment, I feel like I joined, because when I joined the puppet ministry, it was I think it was probably through another friend, and then when I came, I saw like everybody else, and they're, oh yeah, like you should join us like today, and I was just like, oh, okay. And so I did, but that's like the farthest thing that I remember, like for first impressions.
Yeah, and then like for me, I like don't remember meeting Fanola and Kalina together for some reason. Okay, but for Fanola, it's like what everyone else said, where Fanola yelled at me and Jazz and Tiff for like hiding behind the treadmill, I think, and like the desks and the drums. And then Fanola was like, hey, I already told you that you can't play behind there. You need to get out. And then like, yeah. And I turned to Jazz. I was like, why is she being so rude? Like, we're the guests. Why isn't she like catering to us?
How old are you guys?
We were pretty young.
Yeah,
Like third grade?
I think,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
So I was like,
Yeah.
I think I was in 5th grade.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
Yep.
moved to churches, yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't remember meeting Ka at all, but I remember we were doing our annual North Dakota fishing trips, and we were like checking out or checking in at a hotel, and you were sitting on the bench, and my mom was like, go say hi to them because they're new to our church. And I was like, okay. So I went up to you guys and I was like, oh, what are your guys' name? And I didn't remember what it was, but all I remembered was that it was like na Finola, la Kalina. He's like, oh, it's like my name, Tina. So I couldn't remember who was who, but I was like, oh, they're the last syllable of their name is like mine. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it was Kalina. But yeah. And then for Paying, we met at someone's house. Like, we were raking their leaves.
Oh, was this like the youth event or fundraiser?
Yeah.
It was. I think it was Hannah's house that we raked. The one
I thought it was Jacob's house.
one of those, but I only remember one of them.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember we went to Jacob's house to rake. And then you were sitting on like the front bench in front of their house. And Sigourney said hi to you. And then I was like, Sigourney, who's that? She's like, oh, that's Paying. She's new. I'm like, oh, okay. And I was like, oh, hi, what's your name? Knowing your name already from Sigourney. You're like, oh, I'm Paying. And I'm like, oh, I'm Tina. Nice to meet you. See you next time. Bye. Because like I was leaving. But yeah, that's what I remember.
Oh, yeah. There was a lot of events when we were young. Like we saw each other everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
True. It's like saw each other all the time.
Weekends, weekdays.
But yeah, literally, because we would go to church Wednesdays and Sundays. And then sometimes when we got into middle school, it was like Fridays too. So we saw each other a lot. Like when we wanted to hang out. Oh my gosh. So I think we've been friends so we kind of met around, I would say maybe like elementary for us, and then Paying in middle school. So then we almost 7 years, probably more than 7 years. How do you?
I think it was 7 years for me, and then
Almost 10 years for Tina.
Oh my
I
gosh,
believe.
that's
my
crazy.
10 years.
So I think that's pretty crazy how we've like I would never imagine to be friends this long. Like that's pretty crazy, and I think like I know I've known people who had been friends when they were young, but like now have lost touch. So I think it's kind of crazy to see like how our friendship has grown over the years, and that's like insane. I don't know about you guys, but like wow. Like I remember talking about as kids, like because as kids we always try to guess who's gonna get married first, or like have a boyfriend first. And now, like, that's reality for us.
yeah, we're engaged.
That even's kind of crazy.
That's so weird.
Yeah, and like a few of us have graduated college, and everybody's in college now, if not already graduated. So it's kind of crazy how young we met each other.
Yeah.
And like we didn't even have phones back then. We didn't even have cars, and now we're driving everywhere and doing everything.
It's so weird because like the only place, like if we didn't like drive to hang out, like the only place where we would meet up was church.
Yeah.
And how we used to play Sailor Mermaids.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't there for that era, but
Oh yeah. Oh, you would have loved it. You would have loved it.
That would be it's cringy now. if just for people who don't know, Sailor Mermaids is something that we like made up. We were really into Sailor Moons and mermaids. So I guess we put the two together to create our own, I don't know, version of Sailor Moon. But like
It was our version of LARPing.
yeah. Oh my gosh, I cringe. Oh my gosh.
Let's not go back to that topic.
Oh my gosh. Tina has a vivid memory of that.
Oh yes, I do.
I remember we were talking about this once with our kids at Puppet, and like everybody, like all the kids looked at us like we were insane. They were like, what were you guys playing? Like, what
It's because they have electronics now.
That's true.
Yeah, because back then we didn't have electronics or phones, so we didn't. So like we played a lot with each other. Like we played tag or like cops and robbers.
Oh, those were fun.
Yeah, or
Yes.
just imaginary things. But man, we were creative. Kids need to be creative like us.
They like have no imagination like we did. No
It's
offense.
like all about like playing Minecraft or like Roblox. or like TikTok, making TikTok videos. Like, imagine us doing that back in the
Oh my
day.
gosh. I think the closest thing I remember was we would record videos of ourselves. I think it was like to be honest, and then we would just not even write it. We would just do like a video of us saying to be honest to all the people that liked it, and we'd just be in like the bathroom.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I like when Facebook started coming out,
Yep.
and we would make videos.
Yeah.
Or like just do like those just random shout out videos where it's like, oh, if you
Oh,
like this post, then I'll like
yes.
give you a shout out, and you just record
Oh my god.
shouting out people's names to a video, posting it up.
Yes. Yeah. I remember
We did
that.
some weird.
I did
random
many
stuff.
of those.
Oh my gosh, I remember that because one of our friends, they posted that video, and I think someone like liked it again or made a comment on it again, and I watched it and I'm like, such babies, but like
Oh.
cringing at the words of that, what the shout outs that they were singing, like, oh, shout out to you because you know you're a pretty cool person, and it's just so cringy to like watch, like, ew, that was the baby.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to go back to those days.
No, I know I don't. I remember though, like, when people would do to be honest, they would always say like nice things. But you knew, like from a third point of view, you're like, that person don't like that person. Why are they complimenting that person?
Oh my gosh.
It's not very honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember I used to do to be honest so that my crush would like it. I'm like, to be honest, you're pretty cool. We should talk more. You know?
You know what? I think it's funny how we always say, like, to be honest, like, yeah, we don't hang out much, but like, I would really love to get to know you, so let's talk more.
Yeah.
But it never happens.
It never
you know?
happens.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we should change that. And like, okay, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
How? When? Where?
Yes. Anyways, just to like segue back into our topic, we've been friends for quite a long time, and we know that like 2020 has been real tough on a lot of us, especially our friends, because some of them are in college, some of them are in town, and we just don't really get to be or get to see each other this year because of the circumstances. I think it'd be nice to hear like from each of us on how that has, what you think and how that has affected our friendship this year. A little bit deep question, but
I feel like I didn't really get affected by like COVID and friendships until June, and that was when me and some of the older girls, we went to, you know, like we went on a little road trip together, and that was where we kind of like, how should I say this? Like we thought
Bonded.
it was best to just keep it to like some of us, and we didn't invite the rest of our friends. And am I okay? Like, is it okay to say it?
I think, yeah.
Yes, I think
I'm
so, because
open
this
to
is
it.
very transparent
Yeah,
channel.
okay.
Yeah, but I think like with name wise, just privacy wise,
Okay.
because they're not here. But I'm okay with it.
Okay,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it was me and some older girls, and then those girls were the same age as Finn, and we were like, oh, there's gonna be like, we're gonna be, you know, just drinking for fun and just staying in, but in another city. And we ended up not inviting Finn because her family was very serious about COVID, and we just didn't want to make this a big thing because it ended up just being one person wanted to go, and then because I had an apartment in that city, we just decided to do this quick trip. And at the time we didn't realize that it would hurt someone because we're like, oh, we haven't seen each other in a while, maybe it would be fine if we just went by ourselves. And I think when we came back from that trip, it was when we realized like, okay, COVID is not like, you can't take it lightly. And yeah, you can't like go out and about, but it's also like with friends, like we have to keep in mind that they might be wanting to do the same things as us, but they can't because of COVID. And just because we're like, okay, we're kind of fine with it, we can risk ourselves, but we didn't keep other people in mind. And I think that was where it kind of brought us back to reality, like this isn't a time to be hanging out with whoever we want and just leave other people out, because we thought, it's COVID. We can't be in a big group, so let's just go with us. But then that was still excluding people. And after that, I think I kind of just decided, you know what, I'm just going to not cause any more problems. I'm just going to stay in. But because of that thinking, then I started getting further away from my other friends. And so that was when I was like, okay, I need to find like a common ground. And that meant like hanging out with whoever I can, whenever I can, whichever way I can. So that was like Zoom calls, and I was playing Among Us and just being on Discord. And I might be staying up late, but that was just a way to socialize in a way, because it was really hard to, when we were together again in person, I didn't know how to talk to them because I haven't talked to anybody in person for a long time. And so just finding ways to communicate online was a really big learning experience, especially with friends involved. But yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, I think 2020 had been like a very interesting experience, and I don't know if it's like positive or negative in regards to friendship, but like I think I've learned a lot because pre-COVID, it was easy to hang out because like obviously we couldn't hang out with pca because she was in Duluth and some of our friends because they were out of town. But I think similar to what Ping had said, like being able to hang out with people whenever we can. And so unfortunately we couldn't hang out with the ones that were far, but we were able to hang out with the ones that were here. So pre-COVID, it was like easy to hang out together on weekends. But when COVID hit, it definitely changed that, because like that weekend time was like, oh, I can rant to them and like share how work is going, how stressed I am. But when COVID hit, like because of COVID, work was like even more stressful, and it was really hard to like share that with someone because you're in home, and like obviously sometimes family, like you could tell them, but it's just not the same, because they're family. And like Kalina hears all my rants all the time anyways. She's like, she has no more say in it. But it's just different because then you get to hang out with people you like. And so that was hard. And then yeah, like with what had happened, I think that was tough too, because I feel like I was in an awkward position where I didn't know how to feel. Like, oh, like they I it's like trying to be understanding, but then also like I can't also put away the fact that I was like kind of hurt by it for not being invited. And I think that whole thing was also trying to like as Puyang was saying, like being given a new perspective on things. And like gosh, like maybe like because from that event that happened, I had to like also feel like rethink about myself and like how of a friend I'm being, or like am I being inclusive or not, and that kind of thing. And I think with COVID, when numbers were rising, it really affected me personally, because like I didn't realize how much of a people person I was, especially with my close group of friends. And it was like that whole summer, after June, I think it was like no going out, not having anyone over, and it was just like Zoom. And I don't think we did a whole lot on Zoom during the summertime. But it was definitely, I feel like, I don't know about cleanup, but I know like it was tough on me because I was like, I need people. And I feel like I kind of went into like a little hole because I didn't have that much socialization. And I felt like very lost and like didn't know what to do with myself because I didn't have like that outlet to talk to like my friends. And it was really tough on me, I think, personally, like, and because I'm a very emotional person, so like I needed like that connection, social connection, and it was really hard. But I think once the fall hit and I like got into the grind of going back to work and kind of socializing to like my coworkers, like I feel like it's like Sims, because where you when your social bar is going to like yellow, I was probably in the red zone.
Oh my God.
Like that's the only way I can relate it to Sims. And then like I'm in the yellow zone because of work. And I think that's when we kind of started doing a little bit more Zoom, playing Among Us, and I kind of like got into it. And then we did more for like YouTube and everything. And I think I was like being able to do that kind of helped balance my social with my friends. But I think we're making it work, trying to like adapt new things and trying, yeah. So 2020 is definitely was like really like a huge hit in the face for me with everything. But I kind of appreciate it because I learned a lot along the way. But yeah, what a crazy ride.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to go first, Tina?
I can. So, wait, what was the question?
Just how 2020 has affected our friendship, or like you personally with us
Oh,
and
okay.
everyone else. And, yeah.
I honestly feel like I don't think I was affected as much as you guys were. I mean, obviously, like I missed like physical touch and just being in each other's presence. Um, but yeah, I don't think I was affected that much because I got unemployment. So I guess that kind of filled the hole of not having people around me. And then when school started, I was lucky enough to have Kalina with me, like in one of my classes. So it wasn't that hard. But for our other friends, I already felt kind of disconnected from them. So when the pandemic happened, I didn't really feel different because I was already disconnected from them. But that doesn't mean that I don't miss them, and that I don't think about them. But yeah, for those who are like farther away because of school, uh, yeah, I just didn't feel as affected. Um, but I think if anything, it probably made our friendship a little bit stronger just because like it made us realize like we do need each other, we do need friends, and we do need each other's companies. And so that I think that made all of us realize that we need people in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And just like even though like we're not close with some others, those people are just familiar people and they feel good to be around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like yesterday, it was one of our friends' birthday, and we were on Discord for like 3-4 hours, and it felt so good because I haven't seen her in literally a year. And so yeah, just that little catch up was really good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess compared to like everybody else when COVID hit, I don't want to say I was like blessed enough, but I guess I was in a way still lucky enough to be able to socialize with other people because of my part-time job, since it was like I guess counted as essential. um yeah, so like it wasn't like I wasn't like too devastated that I couldn't socialize because I was still able to socialize with people at my workplace, and like a lot of the people at my workplace are around my age anyways, so it wasn't that bad. But like in regards of my friends, I think I really miss our little traditions that we had. Like Friday nights, we'll go to like Applebee's, and then Sunday nights, we'll go to like Caribou and like do homework together.
Homework, quote unquote.
Yeah, and like those nights were like nights I really missed because I just missed kind of being somewhere besides home and school to kind of like hang out and like chill and like just be able to kind of like talk about anything. And then with like COVID, it was just really hard for me to like reach out to like my friends and be like, oh, like how are you guys doing? Like how is COVID? Like not how is COVID treating you, but like how are you dealing with COVID, you know? And it was just very hard and tiring to do that. So I haven't been able to do that, but like I know like now I am trying to like just once in a while send like one message to like a friend at least to be like, oh, like how are you doing? Like let's kind of do a quick catch up before, just so like I can slowly keep in check with them.
Yeah.
Instead of like forgetting them entirely.
I think just kind of going back to it, I guess like to of our friends as a whole, I think like even though we're at different seasons of our lives, we are still in a sense connected to each other, even though some of us may feel disconnected from each other, because just like we don't get to spend time with them a lot because they're far from us. And so we feel like we're not as close to them anymore because of that. And I think even though because of that disconnection there, we somehow still have a connection in a way, if that makes sense. Because like I think being friends for so long and just like kind of like, yes, they might be a little bit different, but they still have, like, not like they're not their old self anymore, but like they still have part of that as who they are. Like we still know that like they're funny and all that stuff, but of course like they probably grew as a person too. But I think that's like how we're still connected, even though we've been friends for so long. I don't know, but I think that's a beautiful thing about us as being friends, because even though, yes, like we are not as close as we were, because it's easier to be close to each other when we are together, but because we're far apart, we're not as close anymore, but essentially still close to the fact that like, hey, I care for you, but you're far, and just know that I care for you, and that kind of idea.
Yeah, I think like
Yeah.
also with just kind of being like disconnected, like once you like kind of reach out to them and like talk to them again, you kind of just realize after that conversation like how much you actually miss talking to that person. Like with like how Tina said yesterday when we were on the Discord chat, I was like, wow, like I actually miss them. Not that I didn't miss them before.
I actually miss them.
But I was like, wow, like I actually kind of like miss being able to kind of just sit and just like talk about anything.
Yeah.
Like our tonsils.
Oh yeah.
We talked
Yeah.
about our tonsils. But yeah, I think like kind of just adding on to Fanola though, like all of us has changed our perspectives, our point of views, our opinions and stuff. Like all of us have changed, and I think that's like that. Yeah, that's a big reason why like we've also disconnected. Not just because like we're far away from each other, but because like we've all grown up. We're all adults now. We're not the same little kids that we used to be. We don't play Sailor Mermaids anymore. We talk about tonsils. But yeah, we've all grown up, and but yeah, like what Fanola said, like that's the beauty of our friendship. Even though we're growing up, we're changing, we still have that familiarity and that connects us.
Yeah, and I feel like going through this social distancing, because when we were young and we had like tension between one another, we would meet up on like a Friday night or something in person, and we would talk it out until all our problems were solved. And I think that's kind of hard, as not even just because it's COVID, but because we've grown, and it's hard to kind of change your mind about some things and our views and everything like that. And I think sometimes that's why we're afraid to be a little bit vulnerable with each other, just afraid that being vulnerable will create more conflict. But I think the good thing though is that we are at the age where we're mature, that we can talk about it if we wanted to, and because we're friends, like we only have each other's best interest at heart. So that's one thing I learned growing up together, that even though we may be very different, we may have become more different than what we remember back as kids, that we're, like how you guys all said, we're all still the same person inside, that, if we may drift away a little bit, we're not as close as we used to be, we're still going to care for each other a lot.
Yeah. That's beautifully said.
So friends, even though I said all of that, I still love you guys. Just letting you all know.
No, but I think that's true though, because like sometimes like it's hard to catch up or like stay in check with, like because you can't message them every day, because we're all busy, we have our own different schedules. So then it's like when we finally get to sit together and talk, it's like refreshing in a way, and like wow, like this is the talk, or the or I guess like the talk that I needed, even though I didn't know I needed, and it's like that one time we Cleona, Tina, and I, we it was like a very late, last minute, where we decided to go hang out with a friend. It was, I for one was like kind of unsure. I'm like, should we go? Is it safe for us to go? But we went anyway. And then after that, I was like, wow, I kind of am glad that we decided to go, because it was refreshing, and like we haven't talked or seen for a long time. It was nice to go see our friend, because like we barely saw her, barely talked to her, she barely messages us back, but like I definitely appreciated that she came out and did spend that few hours with us, and that was like a nice thing. And it's to all of our friends, we love you guys and we miss you guys.
And sending love.
Yes.
Sending love.
Hearts, everything.
Yeah, well, thank you all for listening in and taking time to be vulnerable with us. Please tune into our next episode when it's up, and remember to follow A Moment of Boba for the latest on our lives. So until next time.